My name is Hannah Metz. I'm a senior here at EagleRidge High School, and EagleRidge High presents A Moment with Bonnie Hay. So today you plan to share some of your songs with us.
I picked some different songs. Before I was a music teacher, I was a professional folk singer and did the coffee house circuit and did USO tours overseas. I learned to play classical and folk music when I was 9 and went on to sing when I was 16 at different places. Been writing music pretty much all my life. So I picked 4 different songs. This first song is called Ever Been to Death Valley? I used to live in Death Valley. My late husband was a park ranger, and so we lived in Death Valley. And one day the superintendent came up to me and said, we've got our 50th anniversary coming up. Would you write a song about Death Valley for the anniversary celebration? And I said, sure. But I didn't know a whole lot about Death Valley. I didn't know the details. So I looked up all sorts of information and came up with, just wrote down one animal after another, places, things that I could think of, descriptions of Death Valley, so that if anybody heard this song and hadn't been to Death Valley, they would get a picture of what it's like. Where do the lizards leap? Where are the bighorn sheep? Where do the last of the pupfish go? What does a roadrunner know? There are many things in this world to see. There is magic and mystery. There's a place, I'm told, where they used to hunt gold. It's a place you ought to see. Ever been to Death Valley? And someday you might. You will see the biggest stars climbing up into a cloudless California night. Waves of rainbow wrinkled mountains against the brightest blue. Ever been to Death Valley? And it's waiting for you. Where is the kid fox? Where are the nighthawks? Where are the bristlecone pines? And where are the borax mines? It's a place so rich in history, tales of treasure and of tragedy. The Shoshone and their miners, pioneers and 49ers all came here to be. Ever been to Death Valley? And someday you might. You will see the biggest stars climbing up into a cloudless California night. Waves of rainbow wrinkled mountains against the brightest blue. We are here in Death Valley, and they're waiting for you. See how the earth is rippled and buckled to carve an incredible view. Colored contortion, rocks and erosion, wherever you look, the scenery's new. Where is the kangaroo rat? Where is the ringtail cat? Where does the coyote prowl? And where is the great horned owl? From the salt pans to Telescope Peak, from Scotty's Castle to Furnace Creek, from Zabriskie Point to the Panamint Range, it will never change. Ever been to Death Valley? Do you know the way? Castle rots and singing sand dunes to warm you on a winter's day. Oh, called Message to Idaho. Not many songs are written about Idaho, so I thought I'd write a song about Idaho because I love that country. And it's a love song. Well, I'm always biting my fingernails, counting stars and making up tales, knee deep in my dreams. But I know, yes, I'm certain that way out there he's mending the fences and stacking the hay, that I would rearrange his day. Snow-white angels on a frosty flight wing a message to Idaho sometime tonight. Say I've swallowed my pride and there's no more inside. Have told me so. You said I just had to try out these wings, I just had to go. Well, I'm always crying at tragedies, happy endings and taking the teas, staying healthy and clean. But I know, yes, I'm certain that way out there he's tuning the banjo and reading the news and wishing that I was there to kill the blues. Snow-white angels on a frosty flight wing a message to Idaho sometime tonight. Say I've swallowed my pride and there's no more inside. And I know you could have told me so. I just had to try out these wings, I just had to go. People and places and hard city faces can't hear the sound of the birds in the trees. I feel like a firefly inside of a jar. I long for that sweet country breeze. Well, I'm always running the phone bills high, picking up slang and painting the sky, being miserably free. But I know, yes, I'm certain that way out there he's riding the fence lines and watching the storm and wishing that I were there to keep him warm. Snow-white angels on a frosty flight wing a message to Idaho sometime tonight. Say I've swallowed my pride and there's no more inside. And I know he could have told me so. He knew I just had to try out my wings, I just had to go. And I'd trade in my wings for that ring if I could come home. And maybe that's why my things are packed. Maybe that's why the geese fly back. Snow-white angels
So you mentioned that you were going to share with us how to write a song.
Well, there's many different ways. The words are really important in a song, obviously, if you're singing it. If it's just music without words, then it's totally different. But if you're trying to talk about your feelings and describe things and paint a picture, it's like an artist paints a picture with color, but when you're singing a song, you're painting it with sound and words. And so you want to paint with your sentences with kind of descriptions of what you're thinking, what you're going through, what would make this song a little more interesting to people, a different way maybe of putting it. I mean, there's lots of songs that are just, love songs that are 3 or 4 words and that's it. But it's fun to like a puzzle to put together words. So you want to probably put your words down first. Put your thoughts down. What are you thinking? What's your idea? What's your storyline in this? Is there a story to it? There's so many different types of songs, like story songs. There's just self-expression, I love you, or most songs are about love, but they don't have to be. The Death Valley song wasn't a love song, but it was a description of a place. So, yeah. So this one is a love song. And I wrote this when I was a young woman, before I met my husband. And you might have the same ideas. This is your first love, who's just the most perfect person, and you're just feeling just butterflies and everything. So this is called Loving You. Loving you is just like rolling through a field of clover, and it's going down to meet the morning train. Loving you is a blue lagoon, a sandy tune, and a howling moon dancing in the early morning rain. Loving you is daffodils and dandelions and daisies, all waiting on a hill to catch the dawn. And if loving you is sharing all our laughter and our tears, then my love for you will just go on and on. Loving you is like a cuddly, warm and furry kitten, or drinking cocoa on a cold and frosty night. It's the smell that brings back memories of a honeysuckle breeze, or a supper just for 2 by candlelight. Sharing love with you is like a fiery golden sunset, or listening to the mightiest breakers roar, or it's sitting by the fire on a cold December evening, and it makes me want to love you more and more. I pull out these memories deep in my heart whenever the day gets the better of me. I know there's a place where I am a part of you, and you are part of me. Holding you is like a trip to heaven on a cloud, and it's running through a field of new mown hay. It's a dark woodsy trail with a flag upon the mountain, and it makes me glad to rise and meet the day. Laughing, loving, loafing in some green mysterious garden, or sliding down a slope of crystal snow. Loving you is homemade buttered bread out of the oven, and it's all these things that make me love you so.
What was it like being on the Ed Sullivan Show?
A little scary. I was 21 at the time, and I was with two other guys. We had a group called Fred. We sang a psychedelic song that I wrote, and my sister wrote the words to. That's when I'll come running, running, running into your mind. We had practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced. And we actually flew back from Germany, where we won a contest, to New York to do the Ed Sullivan Show. And this was in 1971. March 4th was one of his last shows. And it was really fun. I mean, we could do that song in our sleep because we had practiced so much, but lots of cameras, lots of lights. We couldn't see the audience at all because of the lights. And we had 3 guitars we were playing, and it was great. It's a good experience.
On the Ed Sullivan Show, did you work with anyone famous?
Yeah, gosh, a lot of famous people. Of course, when you're not top professional, you know, they just say, hi, how are you, you know, and then move past. But I got to meet Jeannie C. Riley, Louis Nye, Ed Sullivan, of course, some of his dancers that he had. Many shows where I was doing the show ahead of somebody that was very famous. I opted to eventually, because I had a family, I pretty much gave up my touring job and became a teacher. I went back to school for a year and got my teaching degree. And I think working with kids is more exciting than working with famous people. I just enjoy that.
What inspired you to teach music?
Oh boy, what inspired me? Just the knowledge that I had. I wanted to share it. I didn't want to leave the earth with all the skills and knowledge and joy that I found in music. I wanted to pass it on, and who better to pass it on than the younger generation, to leave someone there to you know, continue your thoughts and your life and everything. It's to me, that's exciting.
Do you have any more songs?
Yeah, let's see. This is a song of a different style. It's a love song, but when I was in high school, I was a freshman in high school, and there was a man, an older guy. He was a basketball player, and he was, you know, kind of a class hero and everything. His name was Michael. And the next year, he joined the Army and went over to Vietnam. And we didn't hear much after that until the paper said he's coming back. He was wounded and ended up paralyzed and in a wheelchair. And he still had this wonderful smile and wonderful attitude about him. So I wrote a story about Michael. If you want to go with Michael, you will have to pedal fast. If you want to see the world, you've got to pay your own way. Travel here and there, you have to keep up with his wheelchair, but if you really love him, you don't care. this one I wrote for the animal shelter. I love animals and have a lot of them. I have cats, I have dogs, I have chickens, I have fish. I have a squawky parrot, and they're all rescue cases. And so I wrote this for Angels and Whiskers, and Double C managed to put it on their website. Some say there are angels in heaven, and they fly in the clouds up above. But the angels I've found are close to the ground, and they're working miraculous love. They squeak and they bark and they twitter, they neigh and they purr and they coo. They bring smiles to a face where tears left a trace. They'll love you whatever you do. They're angels in whiskers and waggly tails, angels in feathers and fins, with tiny black noses and little black toes. They taught me the meaning of friend. They want so badly to love us, they just want to be someone's friend, to stay by your side, to help and to guide, to remain to the bitter end. They show us to live with dignity, teach us to die with grace. They accept their fate, no matter the fare. When I get to heaven, they all will be there. They're angels in whiskers and waggly tails, angels in feathers and fins, with tiny pink noses and little black toes. They taught me the meaning of friend. And when I get there, the first thing I'll do is call all my angels to me. Come Bingo and Ginger and Shotzi and Twinkie, come Murray and Snowball and Jub Jub and Winky. Here's Snuffy and Sparky and Stubby and Teddy, Spitfire and Hissy Fit, Hannah Boo and Freddie, Hamlet and Booger and Augie and Obo. Come Snowball and Pork Chop, Kaboo and Hobo and Banjo and Iggy and Little Fishbird and Myrtle the Turtle and Admiral T-Bird. Now, if you're in need of an angel, you don't have to search up above. There's so many options, they're up for adoptions, and they give unconditional love. The laughter they bring is a treasure to the lessons in faith they'll be true. For who's walking who through the valley of life? Just take you an angel or two. They're angels in whiskers and waggly tails, angels in feathers and fins, with tiny pink noses and little black toes. They taught me the meaning of friend, taught me the meaning of friend.
How did you pick your style of music?
I wanted it kind of singable, something that stuck in your head afterwards, so that when people heard it on the website, it would kind of stick and they would remember that angels are everywhere and we should go get one. Yeah, it's kind of an easy style, not too many chords, very singable.
How did you pick your genre of music?
Boy, I've done everything from classical, flamenco, folk, jazz, pop songs, easy listening. When I sing for an audience, like at a restaurant, I try to look at their color hair, the clothes that they're wearing, the age that they look like, and try to sing songs for that generation. And it always gets me more tips when I do that. People say, you struck a nerve. And so, you do it enough years, you learn how to do that. But yeah.
How old were you when you got interested in music?
I started playing ukulele at 6 years old. Then I switched to a real size guitar. We lived in Germany. My parents were teachers for the armed forces overseas, and I had a German instructor. And I got a kind of a larger guitar, and learned classical. And in classical, you have a different hand position, and it's very, very strict, and you don't change your hand around in that position. You learn to move your fingers as small as possible, as small a movement as possible, but very effective. And you learn to read notes. And then when we went back to the States, I was in upstate New York, and the folk scene was going on. And there was rock and roll, there were the Beatles. I mean, everything was going on at the same time. Country music, rock and roll, Motown, oh, you name it. Folk singers, Joan Baez, Judy Collins, Joni Mitchell, everything. So I learned to play all those styles. And by doing so, you suddenly find that you have your own style. And out of that, you become your own person, your own musician. And I kept going. I used my guitar in class a lot. Kids like to sing. And I'm still playing.
How many years did you teach school?
Let's see. 16 years I taught. Mills, Roosevelt, and then there were 2 years when the school was out of money, so I offered to do every single elementary school in the city schools, one per day of the week. It was a lot of running around, kind of crazy.
When you were overseas, did music influence you in any way?
I spent so much time singing when I went back, when I was 19, 20, and 21, went back to Europe and sang for USO service clubs. So I spent so much time singing for them. I didn't listen to it. They mostly listened to our music. American music was very popular. But when I got a chance to be out in Germany, because I went to college there, you know, they had wonderful songs too. But it was very similar to ours. Vor der Kaserne, vor dem großen Tor, stand eine Laterne und steht sie noch davor. So wollen wir da uns wiedersehen, bei der Laterne wollen wir gehen, wie einst Lili Marleen, wie einst Lili Marleen. And that goes on and on. That's a story song.
Is that German?
Yes, German. Yeah. And then there's French also. Do you want a French song? Yeah. Let's see. Sur le ciel de Paris s'envolent les chansons. Elle est née d'aujourd'hui dans le cœur d'un garçon. Sur le ciel de Paris marchent les amoureux. Il est né d'aujourd'hui dans le cœur d'un garçon. And so on.
What made you decide to move to Klamath Falls?
I raised my family here in Klamath Falls. My kids went to KU. They're both doctors in physics now. Figure that one out. I made sure they were strong in music so they'd have something to fall back on. But my husband was a park ranger first at Lava Beds and then at Crater Lake. And so Klamath was the closest large city to Crater Lake, and where they could go to high school and get a good education. When you write music, don't give up. Sometimes a song has to sit in your head a while, because the right side of your brain, the brain with the imagination, doesn't have a time to it. You can start a song and maybe not get an idea and then come back to it months later, sometimes even years later, and suddenly something fits in together. It's a different kind of way of thinking, and they can't measure it. It's not measurable, but it's a creative sense, your imagination, where dreams come from. And so don't give up on a song. If you have a few ideas, it's good to get them recorded on your phone or something, and then play it every now and then. Play it in different places when you're in different moods and different times of day, and suddenly things will click. You'll think of more words and more lines or more chords to go with the song. It's a really fun process. It's like painting a picture, only you're painting it with words and sound.